Hey guys, Hidden Truths here. Welcome to this new video with a bunch of new stories. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers and I think we can do it with your help. So please subscribe. It would honestly mean a lot to me. Now, let's get right into the stories.
There's this thing Lena used to do. Every Thursday, without fail, she'd go to what she called team dinners. Some after-work bonding thing with her department. She'd get home around 9:30, sometimes 10, always a little buzzed but still the same Lena, laughing about how someone overshared or mispronounced a wine list. 9 years in, and I never once questioned it. Then it changed. Quietly. She moved them to Fridays. No real explanation, just, it works better for the team now. I didn't argue. I mean, it's Lena. We're adults. Schedules shift. But a few things followed that I couldn't unsee once I saw them. New perfume. Not just any perfume, this musky, amber thing she never wore before. I noticed it first when I hugged her after she got home one night. It stuck around her scarf the next morning. I asked what it was, and she smiled like I was sweet for noticing, then said something vague about a sample from a coworker. She also started leaving her phone face down on the kitchen counter. Nothing dramatic, no passcode changes or 3 a.m. bathroom texts, but still. Just that little flip from face up to face down. Like she didn't want the screen lighting up. I told myself not to be paranoid. I believed in Lena, or at least I wanted to. We weren't perfect, who is? But we were stable. We paid our bills, shared drop-off duty with Nico, laughed over dumb memes, and argued about whether the pasta water really needed to be salted before boiling. Still, it was enough to make a part of me. Pause. A week later, our neighbor, Sandra, the one who can't not narrate her life, mentioned she saw Lena by the airport on Wednesday. Thought she was flying out Friday for that conference thing, she said, sipping lemonade over the fence. Weird to see her with a suitcase 2 days early. I gave her a smile that I hope looked casual. Ha! Must have had an early prep day. Inside, my stomach folded in on itself. I opened our shared email, the one we use for bills, flights, and kid stuff. Buried in the clutter was a forwarded receipt from her hotel. Breakfast for 2. Timestamped 7:11 a.m. and 8:04 a.m. same day. 2 room service orders within an hour of each other. I stared at that email like it would blink first. That weekend, we went to a cookout at our friend Jess's house. Standard backyard stuff, folding chairs, hot dogs, half-warm beer. Nico was running around in socks that used to be white. Lena was somewhere inside, chatting with Jess's sister about preschools. And that's when Tasha sat down next to me. Now, Tasha's not a close friend. She's a friend of a friend. Loud, charming, one of those people who talks in flirtation by default. But something about the way she leaned in that night felt different. Too close. Too knowing. So, Adam, she said, nudging her sunglasses down, you look like someone who keeps secrets. I smiled politely. Mostly where the cookies are hidden. She laughed. No, really. You've got that quiet, loyal vibe. I bet you're the kind of guy who notices everything but never says a word. I said something like, only when it matters. Then stood up to grab another soda. It felt like stepping out of a draft. I don't remember what I expected when I opened the rideshare app that Sunday night. Maybe just curiosity. Maybe nothing. Lena had used our joint account for years, easier that way. Most of her recent trips matched her conference, downtown drop-offs near the big event hotel. But then I saw one ride from Friday. Picked up at 10:42 p.m. Dropped off near a boutique hotel on 11th and Reed. Not the conference site. Not even close. I zoomed in on the map until the little red pin felt personal. There was no traffic excuse, no detour that made sense. She'd gone somewhere else after the team dinner. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere with room service and shared breakfasts. My hands felt suddenly too still. I didn't throw anything. Didn't wake her up or scroll her phone. I closed the app, turned off the lamp, and lay next to a woman I still loved but didn't quite recognize. In the dark, the only sound was her breathing. Familiar and distant at once. I didn't want to believe anything. But the shape of Friday had changed. And so had I. The thing about suspicion is, once it takes root, you start looking at everything sideways. Not because you want to catch someone. You just want the story to make sense again. Monday came, and I did what I always do, packed Nico's lunch, dropped him off at daycare, clocked in for my shift at the store. I even laughed when the bakery guy burned the morning muffins. But somewhere between stocking shelves and counting registers, I started making a list. Not in some spiral notebook of secrets, just a regular notes app list on my phone. Title, Facts. Beneath that, 3 lines. Hotel receipt, 2 breakfasts, Friday 7-Eleven, 8:04 a.m. Airport drop-off, wed, not Friday. Rideshare drop, Friday 10:42 p.m. not near conference. That's it. No commentary. No guesses. Facts first. Stories later. That night, after we put Nico to bed, bath, 2 books, 1 dramatic reading of The Very Hungry Caterpillar, I stayed on the couch while Lena brushed her teeth. When I heard the faucet turn off, I opened our shared calendar on my phone. There was a private calendar entry the day before she flew out, meeting with Collins, off-site. I didn't recognize the name, but something about the neatness of that initial stuck with me. Like it mattered. Like it wasn't her usual shorthand. I clicked into our hotel rewards account. Checked her last few stays. The same boutique hotel popped up 3 times in the last 2 months. Not the chain where the conferences are held. Not even nearby. I scrolled back up to that name. A. Collins. Then I opened her Venmo. 3 days before her trip, a payment to A. Collins. Caption, late dessert, winky face. I stared at the semicolon for too long. It didn't even look like Lena's kind of joke. My stomach clenched, but not in some dramatic TV way. It was quieter than that. Just this steady, cold feeling in my ribs, like a room with the window cracked too wide. At 11:23 p.m. My phone buzzed. A text from Tasha. Tasha, hey, ever grab a drink just to escape for a bit? No pressure. Just good convo. I read it 3 times. Then I hit reply and typed. Me, hey, appreciate the invite, but I'm married, and I'm not looking for that. Hope you're doing well though. I archived the thread and turned off my phone. That should have been it. Just a small temptation politely declined. But for some reason, I still felt like I'd lit a match in a room full of dry paper. Tuesday night, Lena worked late. Said she was staying after to help prep for a district review. I didn't push back. After Nico was down, I went out to the car to grab the stroller I'd forgotten to bring in. It was Lena's week to use the car. I climbed in, hit the trip odometer, and checked the miles since her last fill-up. They didn't match. She'd driven 28 extra miles over what the route to work and back, plus daycare drop-off, would reasonably total. I stared at the number for a full minute. 28 miles isn't a lot. It's the kind of number you can explain away with traffic, errands, a detour. Unless it's just, one direction. 14 out, 14 back. I didn't say anything when she got home. I asked if she ate. She said she grabbed something. I nodded and asked about the review. She said it went long. I kissed her goodnight. And added another line to my list. Odometer, plus 28 miles, Tuesday. That list grew like a plant you water even when you wish it would die. Just a little more every day. There was a gym check-in logged on her keychain app, across town, 7:43 p.m. the week before her trip. I remembered she told me she was too tired to go anywhere that night. She'd Venmo'd it Collins again the week after the trip. "Thanks for covering," it said. No emoji this time. Just the phrase, quiet and sharp. Each time I added something to the list, I asked myself the same thing: is this enough? Enough to confront. Enough to risk the balance we still had, the quiet dinners, the bath toys drying on the edge of the tub. But then I'd look at that phrase again. Late dessert. And the balance would tilt just a little more. I wasn't hoping to be wrong anymore. That hope had been replaced by something colder, something steadier. The kind of quiet that isn't peace. It's just silence before the hard part starts. And I was almost ready for the hard part. Almost. The night before we talked, I stayed up too late folding Nico's laundry. Little socks, mismatched pajamas, the dinosaur shirt he insisted was lucky. I wasn't buying time. I was buying stillness. Just an hour more where nothing had changed yet, not out loud. Saturday, I asked Lena if she could take a day off next week. I told her my sister wanted to take Nico for the weekend, that she missed having him over. She blinked. All weekend? Yeah, I said. I thought it might be good for us to talk. Her face didn't shift much. She nodded, slowly. Okay. That was all. We sat at the kitchen table. No music, no wine. Just 2 glasses of water and the same IKEA chairs we bought when we were broke and dreaming bigger than our paychecks. I opened my phone and slid it across. "I've been writing things down," I said. "Not stories. Just facts." Lena stared at the screen for a few seconds before reaching for the glass. Then she took a breath. It started a few months ago. The off-site retreat. There was a happy hour. I stayed late. We'd been messaging after that, just work stuff, at first. She didn't name him. She didn't have to. I felt invisible, she said. And then suddenly I didn't. That was the sentence that stuck with me. Not the admission. Not even the timeline. Just invisible, and then suddenly I didn't. There was a long pause. She didn't cry. I didn't yell. We just sat in that slow collapse together. I asked if she was still seeing him. No. I ended it last week. Because you knew I knew. She hesitated. Partly. And partly because it didn't feel good anymore. It just felt sad. I nodded. And maybe this sounds strange, but in that moment, I believed her. I didn't give ultimatums. I gave logistics. We're going to take space, I said. Separate rooms, for now. You'll talk to HR and disclose it. No contact between you and him, especially around Nico. She didn't argue. She just nodded again, smaller this time. We'll make a temporary parenting schedule. I'll move to the couch. And, counseling. Whether we stay married or not. That part surprised her. You'd still go? Even if? Yes. I want to make sure we raise him with honesty. Not confusion. She closed her eyes. Okay. It wasn't a declaration. It was a receipt. The next complication came wrapped in lip gloss and too much confidence. Tasha. I found Lena on the back porch 2 nights later, staring at her phone like it had just coughed up smoke. She turned the screen to me. A message from Tasha, sent that afternoon, just letting you know. Adam's been messaging me a lot. Nothing happened, but it felt off. Thought you should hear it from me. Lena didn't say anything. Just held the phone out like a dare. I didn't react. I pulled mine from my pocket, scrolled to the archived thread. One message from her. One reply from me, I'm married. Not interested. Take care. I handed it over. Lena read it. Then looked at me. Anything else? I can show you the porch camera clip. From the cookout. She tried something then, too. I turned her down. Lena looked tired, like something behind her eyes was fraying. Why would she lie? I shrugged. Maybe to distract you. Maybe because people like to stir things up when they feel exposed. Maybe she just likes attention. I didn't say what I was thinking, maybe because you both crossed lines and she didn't want to stand alone in the mess. I didn't need to say it. That night, I moved to the couch, not because I was told to. Because the bed felt borrowed. Like staying in a hotel room with someone else's reservation. I laid there for a while, listening to the house tick and breathe. The fridge. The ceiling fan. The muffled sighs of a family changing shape. And I didn't cry. I just stared at the ceiling and thought about how betrayal doesn't always arrive in slamming doors or screaming matches. Sometimes it slips in, Friday by Friday, until you look around and realize the walls have moved. Nico woke up around 4 a.m., half dreaming and confused. He padded out in footy pajamas, dragging his blanket behind him like a comet tail. "Daddy," he whispered. "Why are you on the couch?" I sat up and scooped him into my lap. "Just needed extra pillows tonight." He leaned his head on my shoulder. "Can I sleep out here too?" I wrapped the blanket around us and nodded. "Yeah, buddy. You can." He was asleep in 2 minutes. I stayed awake a little longer. Sometimes the truth doesn't need to be said out loud. It just needs to be carried. There was no big announcement. No emotional Facebook post or cleansing girls' night or beer-fueled rant with the guys. What came next was more boring than that: mediation, paperwork, forms. We didn't blow up our life. We filed it down into something livable. The 60-40 parenting plan was finalized in under 2 hours. Lena would have Nico Monday through Thursday. I'd get Friday to Sunday. Holidays staggered. Birthdays alternated. We added a clause: no introductions to new partners without at least 30 days' notice. It felt clinical until we got to the line that read, shared calendar for all handoffs. That part hit me. I used to write Lena dumb little reminders in the margins of that calendar. Don't forget sunscreen, or pack extra juice, he's in a mood. Now the reminders were timestamps and zip codes. Less human, more transit hub. Lena ended the affair. Quietly. No speeches. I only knew because a mutual friend, someone outside the blast radius, mentioned that her boss had reshuffled the regional teams, and Collins had been transitioned elsewhere. She didn't tell me that herself. I guess she didn't think it mattered anymore. Or maybe she knew I didn't want to hear his name, even in triumph. Tasha, for her part, slowly vanished. After Lena showed her the full message thread, along with a time-stamped porch camera clip, she backpedaled hard, claiming it was a joke, a misunderstanding. Then she stopped replying to group messages altogether. I don't think anyone missed her, not really. She was always a little too loud, too curated. And yet, for a while, she held power. Not because of what she did, but because of what we'd almost let ourselves believe. What surprised me most, once the dust settled, was how empty the house felt. Not in the sad, echoing kind of way, but in the too neat way. Like a showroom for a family that used to live here. I started filling it up with rituals. Tuesday pancakes, banana if Nico helped, plain if I was solo. Saturday morning library runs, always with a pit stop at the bakery on 3rd where they gave him a free mini donut. We made a paper checklist on the fridge. Things that make us okay. His idea. He wrote. Make pancakes. Pick good books. Tell me when things are weird. Hug 2 times, not 1. Don't forget snacks. I added sunscreen and extra socks. That list became our compass. Sometimes, Lena and I stand in the same room now and it doesn't hurt. We talk like coworkers with a shared project. Who's picking up, who's dropping off? He's coughing again. She's got the vaporizer. I restock the kids' Tylenol. She handles dentist forms. Once in a while, Nico asks if we're ever all going to live in one house again. I never lie. I just say, not right now, buddy. But we're still on the same team. He nods. Believes me. For now, that's enough. Regret isn't a grand speech. It's not crying in the rain or falling apart in the cereal aisle. It's more like hearing your kid laugh from the back seat and knowing you're driving him home to a different house than he left that morning. It's looking at a shared photo album and realizing that your favorite picture, her holding Nico in the blue kitchen light, smiling like she was seeing him for the first time, can't come off the wall just because things got hard. It's packing an overnight bag for your 4-year-old and wondering whether to include his favorite stuffed animal or leave it at her place because he's probably going to want it both nights. It's showing up on time, with snacks and sunscreen and 0 excuses, because even if the marriage broke, the job of dad didn't. That part still holds. Lena asked me, once, whether I thought we could have avoided all this if we'd just talked more. I didn't answer. Because the truth is, maybe we did talk. Maybe we just didn't listen the right way. Or maybe some promises don't break loud. They just stop holding when you lean on them.